Hello people, I'm the Anime Hero, and I review anime so you can enjoy it. But today, I'm going to talk about the PhantomGroup, which is an anime collab channel that I'm a part of. Videos on this channel are mostly anime and manga based, where we hold various discussions. Among these uploads are videos which are all edited by different users of the channel, including myself. In other words, if you want some quality content on people talking about anime, then go to this channel. And in the following minutes, you shall experience small segments of those videos. Enjoy it, damn it!
どんだけ
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 It's a comedy, mostly a comedy. There are action arcs and amazing action arcs, don't get me wrong, and drama and all the other things that it introduces, but mostly it is comedy, so if you don't enjoy that particular brand of comedy, you're not going to enjoy Gintama.
It'll grab you by the balls.
It will. It'll make your dick turn into a hammer. So yeah, if you're into that kind of crude humor, if you're a fan of like South Park, for example, Family Guy, those kinds of shows, then Gintama is like the Japanese version of that. And the references to fucking shonen are amazing. So, I mean, as far as why people don't like it, I said pretty much the comedy. Some people don't like comedy. Some people don't like, it's not episodic. Like, people like to say it's episodic. It's not episodic. It's just mini arcs. Like 2 or 3 episode arcs. Sometimes 7, 8 episode arcs. Sometimes you do have one episode that just is basically its own episode. But it's not all episodic. So I just want to denounce that notion right there. But yeah, I think people just need to give it more of a chance and stop being so judgmental right off the bat when, you know, it takes a little bit of time to get into, but it's definitely worth it.
Protagonist out of any part. You get Jotaro, who, like you said, is one of the most badass protagonists ever. And in my opinion, the best Joestar, and my personal favorite Joestar also. And in terms of the story, I'd say that in comparison to some of the later parts, like 5 through 8, maybe the story isn't as complex or even as good or as interesting, but I think it's still a solid story since you get to follow their adventure and where they travel and where they go. The henchmen are pretty good. Personally, I wouldn't put them on the Pillarman level from part 2. I wouldn't do that, but they're still pretty solid, and they still have, you know, very dark and
I don't know, man. Darby the Gambler.
I remember there was a system how they introduced the villains, so like the people, like the destinies, I mean the cards,
The tarot cards, and then from there it went to the 9 Egyptian gods of prosperity.
Yeah, they did, and then after, yeah.
It had the full scope of destiny to the whole story.
Right, which is very, I feel, that sounds like an epic, like if you guys know European literature, it feels like it's epic. It feels like it's actually chronicling the rivalry between Mr. Brando and the Joes.
I mean, the purpose of the show, right, was to get one person who doesn't know and one person who does know. I thought they would be doing something on the lines of, okay, for example, I didn't, like, tell them that there's actually multiple companies drawing these animes. They're different writers writing these things, and explain to them, like, why one series has a higher animation than the other. Like, not everything could be balanced.
You know what? That's actually something that would be a common misconception, too, from somebody that doesn't know much about anime. People that don't really watch much will probably all think it comes from, like, the same studio by the same people. Like, no, it's like saying that DC and Marvel and Vertigo are all the same thing. Like, there are different companies producing these things. Not all cartoons are made by the same company over here, so that's their ignorance, I think.
Yeah. But that's, like I say, for these official sources, they should be informing its audience of what are these things. I mean, especially, even basic stuff like terms like what's a shonen, what's a seinen, stuff like that.
You know what? That's a good point, because if they're not really explaining anything, it's just going to make people think it's weird, and they're not going to have any more interest.
You know, when they see something and it's their first that introduces them to a series or introduces them to a genre, they automatically put it above everything else, and nothing can ever touch it. People who are just in love with the 80s stuff, the 90s stuff, and they can't really see it critically because they don't, you know, because there's so much nostalgia involved in it, and there's so much emotion involved into it because of you know, something that you've seen first, that they can't look at it critically and realize that maybe it's not as good as they think it is when you look at it, you know, on its own 2 feet.
They're factoring their personal feelings in too much.
Exactly. So
you know what's kind of funny though is there's actually an opposite to that. I think some people, one thing I've noticed a lot is people will watch the new shows like the seasonal stuff, and they'll take a look at an anime that might be like 10, 20 years older, and they'll just look at it. They won't even like watch a full episode. They'll watch like a minute and be like, oh man, this anime is old. It sucks.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people, I completely agree that they'll completely shut up an anime just because the animation is a little not as a little dated or whatnot. They won't give it a chance, and it's for a lot of the new generation that does that.
Yeah, a lot of the kids coming up.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's
People, like I had people that tell me they don't want to watch Kenshin because it looks like shit. I'm like, dude, the animation is not that bad. It's
not really.
Oh, dude, trust me, man. I mean, there's worse shit out there. I see. But look, what I've seen, man. I mean, 60s. Wow.
Now go make me a sandwich.
Like Torko, go get back in the kitchen, Komatsu. But Torko, get back in the kitchen, Komatsu.
I love it.
I'll make the sandwich.
Oh my god.
You're not wearing that apron, Komatsu. Why are you wearing that apron? Okay.
God, he's telling me.
I'm sorry, Torko. Like, let's talk about a little bit of different characters.
Zebra, because he's awesome.
Yay!
One of the 4 heavenly kings you meet later. He's like the last one to be introduced, but he's this beastly guy. When we first kind of meet him, he's in prison because he's a really badass guy. Part of his face is missing, and he has this kind of like power with sounds. He can make all these kind of sound effects with his voice and everything, and very powerful. He has like this thunder sound, machine gun sound.
I want to talk about the main protagonist, Toriko. As of this day, he became one of my favorite shonen main characters in 2013 as of right now.
Damn.
For those of you who don't know, Toriko is a Shokukai, which is Japanese for gourmet hunter. He's the main character of the series. His techniques revolve around the fork and knife. With the knife, he could use to slice anything, and with the fork, he could just use to pierce his opponents or any creatures he faces.
Ed, I guess you want to talk about Coco or somebody else?
How did you know? Coco. Yeah.
Go for it.
I mean, he is my favourite character. I like him because he's got that sophisticated, smart personality, and he reminds me of Kurama and Piccolo. And I was really like the fact that he's the first anime character I've ever seen that uses poison as a proper fighting ability. And I mean, he fucks up robots with poison. How does that even work?
You thought you could cause fire in Iowa? Oh, hell no! Remember, only you can predict forest fires, motherfucker. What the? Oh, man. Oh, man. This little dude got me fucked up. Damn. I'm dead.
Yu Hakusho is amazing.
God damn it, Gon, I told you anime's not good for you. And if I were able to let you watch anime, it would be Dragon Ball. Because everybody talks too much about DBZ.
Oh, darling, let him watch what he wants. I'm a Rurouni Kenshin fan myself. All those bi-shonen guys swinging their swords at each other. If only a handsome swordsman would come knocking in the morning.
Oh god, not another abridged series. Hope this one doesn't suck. It's bad enough that Gon is being a loner in the woods. Well, I guess it's better than him getting obsessed with watching anime. That stuff's terrible for a kid his age. Anime fans full of perverts and lolicons and obsessed otakus who marry pillows. He might as well be insulted by an ambiguous pedo-clown musician.
Ooh, my swing senses are tingling.